Hey YouTube, my name is Cliff. I've been changing motorcycles for well over 8 years mobily. In this video I will be showing you how to remove the rear wheel on this 19 Road Glide Special. I've learned most of my stuff from just doing it, and then also, but most importantly, from the Harley Davidson service manual. I recommend everybody getting one, especially if you plan on working on your own bike, regardless of what bike you got. And then also from YouTube videos, learn like little tips and tricks that you can't you learn on the way. But there are a few things that I do differently than the service manual. I'll show you here in a second. It's just one little step that I do differently than the Harley service manual recommends to do it, on how to remove the rear wheel. So I'll go through on what tools that I used, the torque specs for each fastener, and then and belt tensioning. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and then also leave a comment down below. I plan on doing other bikes as well, not just Harleys, but I plan on doing other cruisers and sport bikes as well. I plan on making how-to videos to remove and install the wheels on those particular bikes as well, and posting them. So let's get to the video. Torque wrench capable of 100 pounds, half-inch ratchet, 36mm wrench, rubber mallet, 3/8 ratchet, 36mm socket, half-inch socket, 19mm socket, and 8mm Allen head socket, and a flathead screwdriver. Alright guys, like I was saying, the one thing that I do differently than the service manual calls for is, in the service manual it calls to remove both the mufflers on both sides. Now I'm sure some of you work on a bike, these mufflers have been on there for a good while, and they've kind of, this clamp down here, you loosen it up, but it's kind of rusted, and it's got a nice bite to it. And you're sitting there wiggling this thing and pulling at the same time, twisting, and you're just sitting there like, and trying not to bang your, especially a black painted one, you're not trying to bang on something, putting marks on it, or even a chrome one, putting scratches in it. So what I've learned to do is I will remove this lower shock bolt on both sides. I will remove just these two hanger bolts on the left side of the bike, and what happens is the swing arm will be able to, because this axle, when you come to slide out, it'll hit this support, and they require you to also remove this support. And you got two bolts here, you got a bolt under here you got to take out, and then also you got to take these hanger bolts off anyways. But I learned to just remove these two bolts on this muffler only, and then both sides this bolt. And what happens is it allows the swing arm to drop down below this, so the axle will clear this. But then by taking this hanger off, you can kind of flex this down. You see in the video, I'll put a rag right here to kind of protect the exhaust. But you can kind of flex this down as you lift the bike up high enough for this axle to clear your saddlebag support. But then when you flex this down, you can just easily slide the axle out, and then when you go to put the axle back in, you can slide it in. Other than that, everything else I've gotten from the service manual. So, back to the video. Now, a few things I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is take these two bolts out, Allen head bolts for the rear brake caliper, remove the safety E-clip for the rear axle, and also remove this bottom rear shock mountain bolt. But before you do anything, make sure you support your motorcycle on something. I'm using a lift. You can easily do this on one of those motorcycle jacks. Make sure you got it supported, because you're going to be removing the bottom shock mounts, and also to remove the wheel. Then on this side, we're going to remove these rear support bracket mounts for the exhaust, and then this lower support, or lower bolt for the rear shock. To make things easier, I've removed obviously the saddlebags and the right side cover. I'll show you that here in a minute. It makes things a little easier. So here we go. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is move the E-clip, our safety clip. Okay. Try not to lose it. There we go. To remove these guys. One thing I like to do is when you take the caliper out, now I got an 18-inch wheel, but the guys with a 16, I would remove a little clip right here for your ABS sensor if you have it, and for your right there on your brake hose, remove that too. This caliper, lift it up, kind of twist it on the rotor. Open up them brake pads and kind of easily twist and pull it out. What I like to do is put it in a nice Crown Royal bag, cinch it down, kind of set it somewhere, this way it ain't gonna get scratched nothing. Now to the other side. Do here is loosen this one up. Gotta push it out of the way. Take these two off. Well, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the jack and lower the bike so I can get to the socket on the axle nut. Then 1/2-inch ratchet and 36mm socket. Break it loose. Take the rubber mallet. Comes out. Now we're going to raise the bike back up so the axle clears your bottom saddlebag support. Good right there. Then, if you can by hand, twist the axle, loosen everything up, push the wheel forward. Now, I need rag. What I like to do is kind of flex the exhaust down just a little bit, pull out the axle, see if it clears. Just before the axle comes out, grab the swing arm, hold it up, because it will drop. What I like to do is take this spacer out, the ABS sensor, I heard it fall, and just for temporary, line this bolt, this bottom shock bolt up, just to hold the swing arm up. Now we're going to loosen the belt off. Now we come over to our brake caliper side. Move the caliper out the way. And this bracket, kind of lift it up, push forward, and kind of just move it out. It comes out real easy. And just set it down. There's a little ledge that it sits on right there. Next thing I do is lift the bike up. So make sure it's supported. Jack. Get it uplift. I got my front strapped up. What I'm gonna do is go a little higher. Swing it out like so. Alright, you're going to take your rear sprocket off, just kind of twist it, pull it out like so. Check your bearing. Feels pretty good, it doesn't sound bad, not feeling anything. And take your cushions. There you go. I'll clean the axle and put a light coating of anti-seize on it. Side for now. Try to wash this stuff off, man. It'll get everywhere. Well, I gotta show you something first. Here's your ABS sensor if you have one. You got a little peg right here. That little peg goes up into this little spot here. So it kind of goes up and you want to stops right there. Okay? I usually let that hang down there. Slide that onto there. And then I like to take the brake caliper. Check your brake pads, which I got plenty of life. Take it on an angle, kind of roll it back on brake caliper. Take our 2 bolts, just start them up. Alright, now on this side, we are going to loosen up our, I leave this at deal. Take our spacer, lift up on the swing arm, kind of get it in there. We'll drop it, it'll happen. There we go. And again, I kind of lightly push down on the exhaust. Take our rag. Go to the other side. And now while we're on this side, back on this side, we're going to take the sensor. I can't hard to show you, but make sure you put it in. What you do is lift up on the brake caliper bracket, kind of get that sensor. You shouldn't have to force it too hard. Sometimes you can wiggle the wheel. Get it in there. There it goes. Alright. Then go back on the other side, push the axle in. I know I'm going to raise up a little bit. Line up through the sensor. Now I'm going to line up the brake caliper bracket, the axle. Some loving. Okay, we're hitting something. We'll be hitting swing arm now. Sometimes the wheel is twisted like this in the deal. If you, oh, that might have been too far. There it goes. All right. There's a D-shaped hole. There's a flat spot on the axle. Goes on that way. You'll know when you're wrong because if it's like this, you go to rotate, it's going to hit this slug and not rotate. And plus you can kind of see where the nut's been sitting up on it. Stick that. A little bit of anti-seize, just a little bit. Rub it on the face of the nut there. Try not to put it on the threads. What it does is it'll help kind of act like a lubricant so that you get a proper torque. We are going to set this to 20 foot-pounds. I think it was like 17, 18 to 20 pounds, but I do 20. Now that we're back on this side, I like to do raise the bike up to this lower mount. I passed it. Put this lower mount. You don't have to put it in all the way, just make sure you're in there a few threads. Get so the wheel's off the ground. Okay. Take your combination wrench here, 36 millimeter, and you're going to turn clockwise, tightening. What's going to happen is this cam washer is going to push off a lug, and it's going to evenly push the wheel back. And also tighten your belt. The reason you put that 20 foot-pounds on there is so the axle won't spin so easy. And also spin the wheel. Just a lot of times the belt will loosen up. So evened out the slack. Usually, since the wheel's off the ground, the suspension's dropped all the way. So, they make a tool for this, but I've been doing it for so long that I could tell. Alright, now we're going to lower it back down. Move this bolt. So, lowering it. Alright, to the other side. Alright, we're going to set our torque wrench to, it's 95 to 105, but I like doing 100 foot-pounds. Here you're going to need your combination wrench and your torque wrench, both 36 millimeter. Just torque wrench ready, then you take your combination wrench, put it on the other side, and you need to keep the axle from turning. Alright. Torque her down. Alright. Now that she's torqued. Where you guys going? Okay. Now that she's torqued down, you see what I'm doing. Put your safety clip back on. Alright. Take your torque wrench. I forgot to show you when you tighten this down to the first 20 foot-pounds, take your sensor from the bottom, push it up until it stops on the bottom of your caliper bracket. Alright? So it's in the right position. I forgot to say that. You might not have saw me do it either. Now these bolts are torqued down to, it's like, 38 to 47, so I usually do 45 foot-pounds. So get my good old torque wrench to 45. take our clip. You can see there's a small end and a big end. Big end goes up on the brake hose, small end goes on your ABS sensor. You want it up against the crimp on your brake line. Okay. Other than the shock mount, we're done. I'm just going to show you the one, and then come on, let's go to the other side. Get that started. This dealio, this deal. Get these started. Alright. These ones I just kind of tighten by hand. You've been doing it long enough, you can tell when enough is enough. Alright, sorry about that, my battery died, so I got the other side torqued. I'm going to torque these to 65. Alright. Pump our brakes up. We are tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the bike up. Get the wheel off the ground. Kind of spin it. I'm going to lower the bike back down. Oh, I think I forgot something. Yep, I forgot something. The sticker. I usually take these off last. There we go. Now we can lower it down. Alright, and put your saddlebags back on, your side cover back on. And you know, if you're just doing your back wheel, you're good. And if not, I do have a video for the front wheel. Check that out. Don't forget to rate, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below, Alright, later.